Okay, so in here, what we would write is a launch. So we will get our setup script, our setup, and what we need is a static variable so we can automatically connect with other ones. So other scripts, sorry, we make it public static, which just makes it even more public, you could say. And just gonna call it instance, not combine instance, just instance. And then at the start, so if we just press where is it? Yes, if we press multi, the instance is gonna be equals to, okay, it's a lot of just defaulting, which is not entirely what I want. Okay, so what we can do now is just instance equals this, but it keeps like this. Instance that equals this. And up here, it's actually a public static setup instance. So this just makes this really accessible, and so then we can link it really easily. So now what we can do is write using system.link link. Okay, I'm writing this all wrong. And now we seem to have a bunch of errors, which is 18. So 18 is, okay, yeah, room listing. And setup was type, this is not valid in the current instance. Okay, yeah, turns out it was in the wrong script, sorry. Okay, so now what we can do is, what do we write again? Yes, setup.instance.join room. And in this, we're gonna pass in the room info that we just got. So what this does, it just makes us, so once we click it, it will automatically go to the launcher or the setup script, sorry, and it will oops, okay. What it will do, it will join the room that we, yes, sorry about the interruption. So what it will do is that once it's clicked, it will go to the setup script and join the room that we have just chosen. So now just Control-Shift-S to save all, sorry, and we just compile. Okay, so now it should be working fine except a few things. So first, if we go to our prefab, what we should do is add our new, we already have a room listing component, and on the unclick, now since we have it, we can do clicked, and then after it's clicked, it should tell us to go in. It should let us join, and then there's a few things we need to do while in the onClick function, because if we're already in a room, which is what we're gonna do, because we're gonna have to join a room before we can get all the player information, how much players there are inside. So what we're gonna have to do is go back to our room listing and the public void setup. Before we do this, oops, I accidentally deleted it. So before we do this, we have to write okay, that deleted more than I thought. So before we do this, what we have to do is we're going to have an if statement that says if Photon network dot is room in room. If Photon network is in room, then what we're going to do is we're just going to leave the room. So we're just going to leave. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Photon network dot leave room. What you could do is, I'm pretty sure our setup script also has a leave the room, so you can also link it to here by setup instance.leave room if you want. I'm just gonna use it this way. And then what we're gonna do is, I think that's it really. And yeah, I think that's it. So now if we are still in a room, like if we want to scroll through all the rooms and just find maybe where our friend is or something like that, then it should start working at least. So now let's just quickly make sure that we check everything, that everything is right, and I'm pretty sure after that then we can build it. So I'm just gonna wait for this to compile. So now let's finish the UI because we haven't finished everything. So first, if we just, because we didn't finish to start the create after we created a room. So this is what it looks like, but after we create, we haven't done anything yet. So once again, we have to duplicate this, open it up, and this is just gonna be our inside a room. Inside a room. And what's going to be inside here is that we don't need a room name anymore. And we're still going to need a back. And actually, do we have one already? Room menu. Let's see if this is it. Wait, I think we already have one. Let me just quickly check. Okay. No, wrong one. Here. Okay, yeah, it turns out we already have one. So you don't actually need that. So in this, what we need now is just, so next video we can just going to make the player list item in both the create room and the find room place. So now what we can do is just make sure that everything is finished. So after this, what we can do is just grab this and game object dot set active is going to be false again, and add another one and drag in our room menu because we want to open this one, and this time it's going to be true. And then I think it's the same thing. So if we just go to find room and join, then it's going to be the same thing. If we just press, we're going to have to change a few things first of all. So if we just go inside here, it's going to go game object dot set active equals false. Same thing. And this time we're going to find the room menu again, and it's going to be game object dot set active equals true. And instead of this, we're not gonna have this anymore because we're already connected. So now, if you wanna keep on doing it and make sure you don't have any extra things, you can go ahead and do that. I'm gonna check this in my free time, so you don't have to do this if you want. So now, if we just disable this room and enable the first panel, I still see that room. So now let's play again. And it's application.reload. So now if we press multiplayer, no bar, and now if we press, we don't have any loss, which is also pretty weird. Okay, yeah, no, we just got connected. And if we press join room, we do have one error. Couldn't be loaded because it has not added the build settings. Oh, okay. So I guess we just forgot to set the join room button. So press join room, instead of start game, it's not going to be set up single player, it's not going to be that. Actually, we don't even need this. So all I have to do now in join room is basically go to the find room menu, drag that in, and just go set active bool, and then we're just going to set active to true. And really, I'm just going to pause the video here and just do it on my own, and you guys can do it at the same time. Okay, so it seems to be all in order. The only thing wrong with right now is just because that we haven't set up the clicking the room yet. So now if we just press join, then we're allowed to join, and if we press leave again, then it can't leave because we're still in the master server. So let's just quickly fix that with our setup script. Inside here, we'll make a reference to our join room button, so we'll make a public game object, and that's going to be our join room button. Sorry, just that. And then once we unjoined room, so we're just going to quickly create a Photon join room. Actually, we can actually put it here actually. So if we just put start in a single player multiplayer, it's already set to false, so we can just do join room button that enabled that set active. Sorry, got confused. Set active is equals to true, And then if we don't have a room, so if we don't have a room or we're creating a room, then I guess we're gonna set it to false. So if we leave the room, we definitely have to set it to false, so we can just go. So actually, let's just go to room listing and just change this to set up that instance, because we don't want to have to put it here too. Instance dot leave the room, and then that's good. We go back to setup and to leave the room. What we can do is join room button dot set active equals to false. And really that's it, because we're going to be, if we select another room, then we're going to leave that room, and then if we select that room and we joined it, then we've joined that room and we left it. Really. So now I think that's, so now the only way to check if this actually works is to actually build it. So we'll come back when we build it. Yes, by the way, the build shortcut is Control B, and well, another thing we should do is if you go to your build settings and by Control Shift B, what you also can do if you go to build settings is that you should, these are just a few suggestions that I think you guys, if you're new into Unity itself, not just Photon, that you should try, which is that in player settings, what it should be is that it shouldn't be full screen. So it just should be windowed, and really you can just put resizable window, and really that's all I recommend, because I think you would like to resize it, and you want to move it maybe if you have multiple screens, and or else it won't be full screen. So then you can just press build and make sure you have that menu scene, or else it's not going to build anything. And then after you build it, it should ask you where to build it, like this, right? So where here, I'm just going to create a new folder, which I usually do. It's just going to be called a new builds folder. And you can, of course, put it somewhere that you feel comfortable with. Called builds. And then, of course, you can go deeper, like Windows build, because over here you can see that there's different types of builds. If I just quickly tell it, there's Universal Windows Platform, iOS, PS4. You can make all those different folders inside the builds folder to help organize, but I'm really just going to make a builds folder. So it turns out I forgot to do a lot of things to make it working. Hopefully you guys didn't build it already. I'm really sorry. So what you have to do first is you have to actually fill in everything. So you have to fill in the room list prefab, and then you have to get the join room button. Another thing I found is that my image somehow got disabled. Not sure if that happened to you guys. Probably didn't. Another thing to do is actually in our scripts. So what to do in our script is in the setup script. When we instantiate our room prefab, after that what we have to do is get the dot fill in. Oh, okay, what do we call it again? Dot fill in. Yeah, it's called dot fill in. Okay, so it's just gonna be dot, and then it's gonna be dot get component. Yeah, I remember. So what this is that we're getting the or prefab, or whatever script I call it, we're missing, and then inside it we're going to apply and really just define everything. I'm missing after that, this parentheses, not after that, and then after the pair of parentheses, we add the dot fill in, and it seems to be this. And inside we have to add a few parameters, which is if you go back to room list item, you can see that we have a room int. Inside, what we're just gonna ask is, since we're using an int, since we're using a for loop cycling through all our rooms, we can just do room list dot I. What this does is just the current, it just gets the current what do you call it again? Yes, the current room that we're in, because we're constantly looping through the entire room. It's like all the rooms. So we're just going to fill in what our room is, so what our current room is. So after that, now we're actually no, because I don't want to jinx you guys. So let's get good.